Hi, lovelies. Welcome to Managing My Money with Rosa. Today, we are going to do a budget with me where I sit down and I walk through how I plan out my husband's check. If you're new here, I'd really love if you would take a second and hit subscribe down below. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending a little bit more of your time with me. I can't tell you how much I really appreciate it. And everyone, please take a second, smash that thumbs up button. So my husband is an hourly worker, meaning he gets paid by the hour. I'm on salary, so we know what my check is going to come in at. But his, I really don't know. I can take a random guess, but it all depends on how many hours did he work for the week. So I actually have all of it in a computer program. I am a true numbers nerd. I actually love Excel. I have moved and transitioned into Google Sheets, and I love them. So I have everything in there, but guys, I'm a paper pencil girl too, and I love my paper. I love to be able to look back and see where things and how have things been going and be able to take all of that stuff without having to pull the computer out. So this is today. So today I am going to take what's in the computer and put it on paper. And I figured that although I usually do this off screen, I take you along with me as I do my husband's check. Now again, he is a hourly worker. So depending on how many hours, depends on what his paycheck is. I can almost always guarantee that his check minimum will be $9.75. And then that's what I put into the computer. And then when I actually get what his actual paycheck is, then I start to go and then I start to play with the numbers and shift them around so that we can have that zero-based budget. So as I go through, because $9.75 is typically where I plan everything out at, I'll talk to you about how I adjust things as he gets his paycheck. So although we budgeted $9.75, reality, his check was $1,135.35. It made me giggle really hard that it was $35.35. Again, numbers, when they make patterns, I just find it the most amusing thing ever. All right, $1,135.35 is what we have to play with. Now, I love to write with this pen, but I don't like for it to rub up against the ruler, and I like to have sections. So I have just an income section. My next section is totally devoted to cash envelopes. So one of the huge differences between my check and my husband's check is that my check covers 99% of the bills. Oh, nope, we've paid the RV off. My check covers 100% of the bills, and his check covers all, and I do mean all, of our cash envelopes. Now, when I have a magic month, I do stick a little bit extra into our cash envelopes, but the whole purpose of his check is to make sure we have that cash we need for the next 2 weeks. So the next section is cash envelopes. Now, this is where it gets a little wonky. So I work from home now, which means that I don't need to buy lunch out. I don't need to get any little extras a lot of times. You know, when you're running past something, you go, oh, I really like that. And you swing in and you pick it up, and I don't do any of that. So with that said, my husband, on the other hand, has what we call a cash budget, where he goes out, he can pick up his lunches. If he's working at dinner, he can get in a dinner, or he can also, maybe it's extra gas, maybe it's his cigarettes, maybe it's a lottery ticket here and there, it's something, but it gives him the cash he needs to be able to take care of everything. So reality is I budget $250 for this. However, when he has a larger check, I usually put more in, and that's $300. We start on a $200 basis, and then it fluctuates here and there, and then I just save up the extras so that when he has an overtime, I don't have to worry where that money's coming from. But usually it's $250, but because his check is larger than $9.75, I'm gonna put $300 in. Fast food. Okay, so no judgment here, guys. We do fast food. We are on Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. We are in the process of step 2, which is supposed to be paying down all your debt, which means, according to Dave Ramsey, we should not step foot inside of a restaurant, and everything should be homemade. Well, 75% of everything is homemade, but we do splurge. And for a family of 3 to go out and pick up even just McDonald's, it's still $30 a pop. So with that said, I go ahead and I budget for it, so that when it happens, I know I already have that money there. Because prices have increased, I've actually upped this. It used to only be $100 that went to this, and for probably the last 2 or 3 months, I've upped it. It ranges anywhere from $110 to $120. I've decided to put $120 in today. Gas. So I budget for gas. I always budget, not always. I've recently started to budget for my husband's truck as well. With that, we needed to up how much was going into gas so that he doesn't need to worry about gas. I use Upside. I collect some extra pennies. If you don't know what Upside is, it is a fantastic app that allows you to earn money back when you buy gas. There's a link down below if you'd like to get into it. I think I've earned about $40 so far, but it's just a way for me to earn some extra. So we've changed how we do his gas, and now he's part of my Upside. So he and I will go out, we'll take care of it together. It's just good time to spend in the truck with anyways. And that meant that I needed to up this budget if I was going to start to pay for it out of our cash fund. So we put $100 in for gas. Groceries. Now I'm going to be real. I know that this is very low. Every time I get that magic month where I have an extra check, I always stash some extra in here, or anytime something bonus comes up, I stash extra into groceries. But we do try to stick to that $275 every 2 weeks. Sometimes we go over, sometimes we're under, but that's where I have begun. It used to be $200, then it was $250, now it's $275 is what's budgeted. The baby, who's not a baby, gets an allowance, and that's $10. Let's see if I can make all of this move without, come on computer, agree with me. Oh, it's not wanting to agree with me. Oh, because I'm not in the right space. Silly me, the mouse has to be in the right space. All right, so that's allowance. Paper goods, I keep this separate from groceries. This is all my paper towels, toilet paper. We get bottled water, so that's where all of that is. And we put $20 in this time. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 15, it just depends. We also have a pet cash envelope where I can go get bird food, which I just recently did, or treats for the dog, or whatever it is that we need around the house. And that's either 10 or 15. This week it's 15. I have an addiction to Dunkin'. It keeps stealing all my money. Wish I could figure it out, but it just keeps stealing all my money. And this honestly is specifically for my Dunkin' runs. It's $20, which means I can go 4 times during the 2-week period, and then I need to call it quits after that. We used to have an RV payment, and now that's going into savings, and that is $100. And then the last cash envelope are toiletries. Again, oh, that's different than my paper goods. So paper goods does include toilet paper. Toiletries are all my other bathroom things, my shampoos, my soaps, that type of thing. So I do keep those separate. And again, that's 10, 15, 20. It just depends on the week. And this time we're gonna put 15 in. And those are all of my cash envelopes. So now let me come in here real quick, add those together. So this totals $975. Let me get my line in real quick. And then I take what I had minus 975, which means we need to come find the calculator. 1135.35 minus 975 equals 160.35 is headed to my sinking funds and savings challenges. So let's label our next sinking funds and savings challenges. All right. So I have some sinking funds that get funded every single week. One of those are lunches for my child. J School. And we put $10 of my husband's check in there. 5, 10, 15, just depends on how much his check was. Like originally it was 5 and I upped it to 10 because we had it. We also, this week, I am going to put some into car maintenance. My husband is in need of new tires for his truck, so I really need to get a handle on that and get that started. Originally that was a zero budget, but because his check was over the $975, I went ahead and dropped 20 into car maintenance. Clothing was also a zero. However, I have decided to, because his check was extra, put $10. We are getting ready to need back to school clothes for our child, so need to make sure I'm putting some into there. Debt pay down. I start with $5 from his check. Again, because his check mostly fills our cash envelopes, I don't use a lot for a debt pay down. It was 5, I've upped it to 10 because his check was larger than I was expecting. We have an emergency fund in which I am putting $5 into it. My daughter is getting married, and although I, finished her 100 envelope challenge, I'm now working on saving for our portion of what we're gonna need in order to travel to her wedding. So I put $25 is what's budgeted from his check for us in order to do that. Just trying to make sure that we're working on getting our $5,000. Family birthday. So there are some that get specific amounts every month, and one of those is family birthday, just like my child's school. Family birthday has to get at least $50 a month, because as we get into school, that's what it takes for lunch accounts, just straight lunch accounts. So that needs at least $50. But this also needs at least $50 because we have 6 birthdays at $100 a birthday, which is $600. Divided by 12 is $50 a month. Well, instead of taking it out in one chunk, I take some for my check and some for my husband's, and they're in $25 increments. So this is coming out of his check this week. And then we have some extras that were not in the budget that we're going to write down real quick. So our youngest is 14, getting ready to be 15. We are slowly, and I do mean slowly, saving for a car for him. So there's 5. My husband would really like some land. There's another 5. Medical is one of my absolute favorite envelopes. It has saved me many times. We're going to add 5 there. And then my husband keeps hinting, he hinted really hard yesterday, that he wants a new truck, which I am totally against right now. We have way too much debt. So I'm working again, like my child's car, I'm working on a fund for my husband so that we can have a healthy down payment and then have smaller payments to make. So that's $5. And all of those 1, 2, 3, 4 things were unbudgeted and unplanned for originally, but once his check came in larger than what I was expecting, I was able to pull out those $5. My husband's check, we always put $20 into our savings. We have a holiday savings challenge, which we're going to put $5 into. That was not budgeted for, but because his check was larger, we got to put some into there. And then I also have a 1 month ahead challenge. And we're going to put $10 into it. Again, that was not budgeted in, but because we had larger than $975, yay, we got to then come in and put it somewhere. So when I add all of these together, it should be $160, but let me make sure. Give me just a second while I capture all of them. All right, yep, and it is $160, which will leave me with 35 cents. Now I will leave that in the bank. I won't actually pull that out. We do try to grow his account a little here and a little there, so that when he tells me he's out of money because something came up, we have it. We don't have to worry about it. And that is how I have budgeted out or planned how to spend my husband's first paycheck for the month of July. If you have any questions, please drop them in chat below. I'd really love to hear them. I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.